Not won here in Charlottesville in 44 years. They're certainly confident they can get the job done tonight as we are underway from Klockner Stadium. Virginia in the white and James Madison in the purple. Virginia coming out in its 3-5-2 formation. James Madison in its traditional 4-4-2.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call from the UVA staff to start in a 3-5-2, because I think against a team like JMU that likes to go and likes to press you with two forwards, I think it's really useful to have those extra players in the midfield to play out of that.
Cavaliers have been alternating formations throughout the season in a 4-2-3-1 to begin their last match against Virginia Tech, but transitioned into the aforementioned 3-5-2 against the Hokies in the second half. Well, Steve, it certainly felt like for UVA, especially coming off the 2-1 loss to UNCG, a late winner for the Spartans a week ago here from Klockner Stadium. They needed that turning point victory in this season, and they got it on Friday night.
They finally got it against Tech, a very good Virginia Tech team. For UVA, I think every game since Stanford really has been a step in the right direction. And they finally got against Tech, a big 2-1 win, alumni weekend, big crowd, and the boys were up for it.
And Virginia was outshot in that match by a significant margin, 25-8. But speaking with the Cavaliers coaching staff, associate head coach Adam Perrin, I think they felt like a lot of those shots for Virginia Tech were not high danger opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of the shots that Tech had. I think, yeah, they got it. They had a lot of the ball in the attacking area, but you know, Petruni was pretty comfortable for most of that game. And I think overall it was a fair result.
Yeah, Petruni made 11 saves in the match back on Friday against Virginia Tech, the most by any ACC goalkeeper here in 2024. But yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of them were comfortable thanks to the back line.
They all count the same, is that right?
Yeah, that's true. Certainly true. Nobody asks when your career is done and you end up in the leaderboards for your particular program how you made those saves. There's Ian Graham for James Madison. Has been with this program now for 5 seasons, making just his 3rd career start tonight, 29 in purple. Filling in for the injured Davide Materazzi, missing his 2nd consecutive game, the Italian in his 2nd season with James Madison. Graham, one of the great stories for this Dukes team.
Absolutely, especially considering how influential and how important Materazzi is for this team. For Graham to step in and play as well as he's played, I mean, it really speaks to him as a player, his character. He's a great guy, and I'm so happy to see him really thriving in this role.
Graham, the redshirt senior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, has only played 289 minutes in his career prior to tonight, but played the full 90 against the Herd back on Friday.
And I think, you know, you saying that really tips me to say, hey, well done, Ian Graham, for sticking out for 5 years until his number is called. That's really, I mean, it's really impressive, especially now the transfer portal is just rampant, and he's stuck with this group for a reason, and now he has his opportunity. Yeah, and as we watch this match tonight, Steve, these two programs are vastly different in their roster construction. Yeah, you have some Virginia players who have been around now for 2 or 3 seasons, but the Dukes have a lot of players who have been in Harrisonburg now for 4 or 5 years. Yeah, 6 or 7 guys that have stayed. They've used their COVID redshirt year, and they've stayed for a reason, and that reason is they said, hey, we've got something special. Let's stick together for as long as we can, and now they're number 8 in the country. That familiarity has paid dividends for the Dukes. James Madison making the Sweet 16 a season ago before losing to Loyola Marimounts. For the Cavaliers, meanwhile, great to see Umberto Pella back in the match, 6 in white here on this near side. Pella missing a couple of matches after getting injured in warm-ups against Stanford in late September. Yeah, Pella's a really, really special player, and it was unlucky for them to lose Pella for as long as they did, but now that he's back in, let's see if he can kind of orchestrate, be that maestro in the middle. You know, and I have to say, although Pella is now playing that 6 role, Brendan Lamb has done an excellent job this season in stepping up and stepping into that role. He's had some really excellent games, and you see him here on the ball making it happen. Yeah, if there are linchpins to this Cavaliers roster, it's certainly 6, 8, and 12 in the midfield right now with Lamb, Pella, and Gashi as well. Daniel Mangarov cutting from the outside, tried to toss it towards the back post, and Mangarov gets it back. Danny, the 3rd-year Cavalier coming over from UNCG,
scored a free kick goal against Virginia Tech in the 42nd minute that deflected off the wall, a very fortuitous bounce. He got a second goal on the year for that.
Hey, you got to shoot to score, and that's what he did. He put it on target, and the wall didn't quite do its job.
Mangarov has been a very versatile piece for this Cavaliers team. Trying to figure out his best spot. Is he greatest as a right wing, right mid? Do they want him towards the center of the field to take shots? Some of the questions that George Gelnevach and the coaching staff have asked themselves throughout the season.
Yeah, I think for UVA, he is really the answer at 10 for them. I'm not sure if they have anybody else that kind of steps into that role as naturally as Mangrove. Could be Luke Burns, the freshman. We've seen him play there a couple times, and he's looked pretty promising, but I think he's still kind of getting acclimated to college soccer.
Lamb brought down Kevin Larson with a tug, and he's getting the yellow card. No question from the James Madison sideline as Larson is in the book. Lamb showcasing some of that speed there.
Absolutely. He's done this really well ever since the Stanford game. He's kind of shown more confidence on the ball, and he's been willing to pick it up and run into spaces with it because he's got a lot of speed, especially for a player that plays as a more of a center defensive mid.
That looked like backyard Thanksgiving football when your older cousin has the ball and you're just trying to get him down.
Yeah, it did, except the ref called a foul, and in backyard Thanksgiving football, there are no fouls.
Everything goes. Well, tonight will be interesting how it's officiated. Referee David Erbacher, veteran crew with Megan Mullen and Rick Rogers as the assistant referees. Mike Renner, the fourth official. As UVA enters the box, Josiah Blanton, another fifth-year player for the Dukes, doing the defending. And James Madison gets it away towards Evan Southern. Here's the Virginia Tech transfer for UVA, Grant Howard, who has really brought a significant punch to this Cavs lineup since his return from injury.
Yeah, it's really, really fortunate for UVA to get him back because, like you said, he has been really, really excellent. And usually it takes a couple games to kind of find your stride when you come back from injury. But Howard stepped up against UNCG, and he's been fantastic ever since he's seen the field.
A knee injury in the offseason that sort of became a groin issue in the preseason, cost him the first 8 games. But yes, Steve, as you mentioned, made his debut in the second half against UNCG and got considerable minutes the other night against Tech.
Yeah, he's a super versatile player. He can play as a wingback, play as an outside back.
As Mangarov lifts it in towards Nick Dang, who is certainly a threat on set pieces. Deep throw in for UVA.
Yeah, it's good service from Mangarov. He had really good service against UNCG, and you know, that can be a real threat for them. You know, serving balls onto Nick Dang's head is a surefire way to find goals, as they've done this season.
Dang tied for the team lead as a defender with 3 goals on the season. The other player that has 3 goals for UVA, another defender, Reese Miller. Unfortunately for the Cavaliers, though, Miller with a torn ACL in the Wake Forest game, and he is unavailable the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's really tough to lose Reese Miller. He's really, really clever with the ball, and you can plug him into different spots on the field, whether it's defensive, as a winger, up top. He's a really great player, so, you know, heart goes out to him. Hope he has a good recovery.
Well, goal scoring has been a big question mark for the Cavaliers, that final finish. And playing a James Madison team tonight that is #1 in the nation in shutout percentage. The Dukes have racked in 6 shutouts over their first 9 games.
And that starts from the forwards to the midfield to the back line and then to Conlon in goal. Conlon's been really good. He's only a junior, but he has so much maturity in that role. He's a great shot stopper. But, you know, this team really defends, this JMU team really defends as a unit, and they press the ball like crazy, and that really makes teams that they play super uncomfortable.
Well, this guy pressures the ball like none other. Evan Southern, he is certainly a pest. A lot of speed, causes problems for the back line of opposing squads.
No, you said it. He's a pest in the best ways. He is absolutely ruthless. He just goes and goes and goes. He's a thorn in your side from minute 1 to minute 90, and he can also get the ball and finish. He's an excellent asset for the Dukes.
3rd season now with James Madison, coming in from Iowa Western Community College. Prior to that, 1 year at St. Louis. Mangarov flicks it forward, but there for James Madison is Luka Nikolai. He is very aggressive in the attack as a right back.
He certainly is, but he is aggressive and he gets forward, but he works his butt off to get back. And I think he might be a better attacker than he is a defender, but you know, he's not a bad defender either, and he's a real asset, and he makes it so that JMU can really play with 5 in the midfield when they choose to do so. He gets forward, he gets in that attack. You see Larson, he'll slide into the middle as he's doing right now. Nikolai will pull up top as kind of more of a winger role.
Looped over the top. Austin Rome defending against Evan Southern, and Southern is claiming that it went off the UVA player, but the assistant referee does not agree with Evan, and it's a goal kick for Joey Petruni, who makes his 22nd consecutive start for the Cavaliers today. So the season high 11 saves for Petruni against Virginia Tech. A couple shy of his career high 13 in the ACC quarters a year ago against Syracuse. Mangarov finds a pocket off the foot of Triton Beauvois, who has become a starter as the left wing. Gashi serves it in. Chested down by Joaquin Brizuela. James Madison asking for a handball on Mangarov, and referee David Erbacher says yes.
And Corey, I think that run of play right there is kind of cluing us into UVA's game plan when it comes to attacking. They're not going to play around with the ball in the back because that's exactly what JMU wants them to do. JMU wants them to play into their press. But there you see, Blanton comes up, he cheats a little bit, ball over his head to Mangarov, and suddenly UVA's in.
As associate head coach Adam Perrin told us yesterday, Steve, that UVA is not a team that plays through the lines, tries to, suck you in towards its own defensive third and play out. That's what Marshall tried to do to James Madison the other night. And
they got hurt for it. I think Marshall stepped up to it and they said, we're going to play our game. We don't care how JMU's going to play. We're going to play through them because we can keep the ball, and we're Marshall, and that's what we like to do. And they got punished for it. They got pressed twice in that game, and they gave up goals on both those plays.
Evan Southern getting his first on the season. Josiah Blanton, who has the ball right now, scoring in his second consecutive match. So the Dukes at 5-0-4, off to their best 9-match start in 20 years since 2004. But Petruni hammers it towards midfield as Chase Strine heads it forward. Here's Yanis Lilan, who has had a breakout 5th year with the Dukes. Here's Kevin Larson striding forward. Slips it in for Southern, too far out in front. Would have been offside anyway, and play will continue. Flag was up on the near side. JMU eventually started that 2004 season at 12-0-1 in the first 13, finished with 15 wins, and did not make the NCAA tournament last time that they got off to a start this great. But a James Madison program over the last 6 years that has made the NCAA tournament 4 times. Visa on a bounce. There's Sebastian Conlin for James Madison. I joked with Sebi, Steve, before the game. Every time I see him, his hair gets shorter. He came in as a freshman. The hair was down to his neck.
Yeah, he's grown up. Yeah, right. He's got the high and tight now.
Here's Larson, sneaks it in there for Southern, falls down, no whistle. Play continues.
It's a really important tackle from Dang there, because not only was Southern in on goal, but his buddy Jeffrey Aguilar was right behind him.
Aguilar, one of the 2 forwards with Southern, and Aguilar has had to step up for James Madison this season, maybe a bit earlier than the coaching staff was expecting, with the injuries to Cam Arnold and Cooper Noseworthy and Ethan Taylor all out for the season with ACL injuries.
Yeah, really unfortunate to lose those 3 guys, especially Ethan Taylor, who is just a phenomenal player who can really play out on the wing, up top, and he had a phenomenal summer with Virginia Beach United, and in a preseason game, he tears his ACL. So really feel for him. But yeah, Jeffrey Aguilar has stepped up into the role as a sophomore, and he's played really, really well in the last couple of stretch of games. Yeah, Aguilar only played in 3 matches a year ago, and now thrusted into a very important role, taking the spot that Rodrigo Robles had a year ago for James Madison. Robles was such a special player for the Dukes. 11 goals, 17 assists in his 4 years with JMU before graduating. Yeah, Robles is a transfer from West Virginia, and as soon as he got onto campus, he just felt right at home, and he played right at home. He was he was a great leader, a great teammate, and like you said, he had a lot of success here. Down the line for Joaquin Brizuela, backing down Ian Graham, who stays attached to him.
Brizuela now double teamed with the assistance from Josiah Blanton. And UVA maintains possession.
And you see it there. That is what Brizuela is best at. His hold-up play is as good as anybody in the country. He is really, really good at just holding the ball. And there, he just lures Graham and Blanton, and he makes them foul him.
Freshman from Argentina, and as we touched on earlier, the Cavaliers, because they're looking for some goal-scoring touch, they've used a lot of different central strikers here in 2024, trying to find the best answer to press that back line and pose some problems on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they certainly have. And Brizuela gets the start today. A.J. Smith started against Tech. We have Triton, Beauvoir, who can also play up top. A lot of players have played that role, but I really like Brizuela. I think he's had a lot of success, and he looks promising.
Brizuela currently unmarked near the 6-yard box. Off the head of Strine. Bounces down for Pella. And James Madison avoids the danger. Now it's Evan Southern. Bursting ahead. 1v1 Aguilar and Howard. And Grant Howard gets there first for the Cavaliers. Excellent crowd here as well from Klockner Stadium. A lot of James Madison supporters coming from over the mountain, from Harrisonburg to get here. You know, it feels like a Friday night crowd here at Klockner.
It sure does. It sure does.
Are you looking for people you know, Steve? I think you know a lot of people at this game.
I think I know too many people at this game.
You're like a local celebrity here.
That's what I think.
Conlon near his own goal line. Flips the field now for Luka Nikolai. Strong header there from Brendan Lamb. Uses the shoulder to fend off Nikolai. Beauvoir inside the area, past Beauvoir. And here it goes for Mangarov, who couldn't get it towards Cage.
But it's promising. It's really promising from UVA. They have had much better of the play so far here. To begin this game, they have been a lot better than JMU, and they've kind of played exactly how they wanted to play. And JMU hasn't been able to press the ball. They haven't had that much possession. UVA looks really good tonight.
Surprised that it's been mostly the Who's on the ball?
I am. They're playing the 8th best team in the country. So, yeah, I think going into this game, you have to say that JMU is favored.
Well, James Madison has not won a match in Charlottesville since the year that Pac-Man first came out, 1980.
Wow. How about that?
Think about that.
Well, maybe they're due for one then.
It sure would appear that way, being that James Madison comes in as a top 10 program. The Dukes, a couple of seasons ago, over at Centera Park, beat Virginia in extra time in the 109th minute on a goal from former Duke Melker Anselm. Virginia then won the next meeting in 2022 3-0. Last year, though, a 1-1 draw. Robles for James Madison scoring the late tying goal for the Dukes in the 90th minute.
Yeah, dying minutes. Robles hit a great volley to tie that game up in a game that JMU probably had the better of the play.
Jeffrey Aguilar, he's onside here. Oh, what a tackle. Virginia's defense does the job. It's Alvin Gashi. Brizuela touches it down for Mangarov. And now Visa detecting the far side. Squirts off the head of his teammate Pella, and now it's Lamb. Howard. Visa to his right. Grant Howard has played a multitude of positions very early in his Cavaliers tenure. Right center back, right wing. Blanton locating Turner. And now Southern in a wrestling match. And there's the challenge from Aguilar. Our referee says, get on up and let's continue.
And you see right here, JMU is hesitating to press the ball, which is not like them. But given the fact that UVA is playing with a 3-back and then 5 in the midfield, JMU is playing with a flat 4-4-2. They're just outnumbered. And so that's allowed UVA to really be comfortable on the ball and play through them.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Steve, because when we spoke with Paul Zazensky, who is now in his 7th year as the Dukes head coach and has just done a tremendous job, he said they feel like they're at the point now with this program that they don't really need to adapt their style to anybody else's. They're going to play their game and make the opponent have to make some changes.
And I think Zizinski is right in saying that, because I don't think they need to change substantially how they play. However, they might need to think about their cues and when they choose to go, the moments they choose to strike and to press. But you're exactly right. They have an identity, and if they're going to be successful, they should absolutely stick to that identity.
Josiah Blanton gets a foot in there on Visa, and he's fired up.
As he should be. That is a fantastic tackle to not only win the ball, but win the throw-in.
And he has a cannon of a throw as well. Oh, crafty move there by Yanis Lilan, and he is grabbed by the back of his jersey, and this will be brought back for a James Madison free kick and a Grant Howard yellow card.
Some cheeky play there from Yanis Lilan. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Redshirt senior from Madrid. He has been asked to play a multitude of roles for this James Madison team over the years, as a starter at left back, a starter at left wing, a reserve who gets significant minutes, a reserve that doesn't play all that much. Another guy that just stuck with it throughout his career.
And that's the type of guy he is. You know, he will step up and he will do whatever the team asks of him. And he's had a lot of success this year, and I really think as a left mid, that is his most natural position.
Larson brings it down, and Rome has to sweep it away for Pella. And going back to Yanis Lilan, the guy that filled that left mid spot a year ago was an all Sun Belt Conference first team selection in Clay O'Barra. Fantastic 5-year player with James Madison, and Lilan really ensures that the Dukes don't miss Clay all that much. A really good player.
Yeah.
But Yanis has done excellently this year.
And maybe he's learned a little bit from Clay, because those two guys are pretty tight. And you're exactly right. Losing Clay, that should be a absolutely massive loss for the Dukes. And, you know, they've definitely felt his absence because he's a much different player than Lilan. But Giannis gives you something that is really, really fantastic. He's a left-footed player and can do some special things.
Scored his first career brace against Radford a couple of games ago. Excellent ball winning there from Dang. Aguilar with the challenge. All right, we're getting some bite, some feistiness here.
Yeah, and you see for the Dukes, their chances have really come from, not from building out and stringing 30 passes together, but when they win the ball, they go really, really quickly forward, and we see them doing it right now.
Southern, and the tackle and the foul from Pella. One of the 3 captains for the Cavaliers gives James Madison a free kick from about 25 out.
That's a very dangerous spot, and a spot that Kevin Larson has known to be very dangerous from. You see Southern here, he's just luring him in and then pokes it, and Pella's got to move his feet. He's got to move his feet. That is way too soft and easy of a foul to give up in a very dangerous spot.
All right, Steve, about center of the field here, 25 yards out. What's your thought process here if you're James Madison?
I mean, I think you got to go with the righty. I think you go with the righty because it curls away from the keeper. Now, Lilan has taken some gorgeous free kicks this season, and so it's hard. It's difficult to say don't give it to him, but I think naturally this favors a righty.
And you have Kevin Larson, who is with Yanis Lilan as Batruni sets up the wall. The Coastal Carolina transfer, former Sun Belt player against the Dukes in the SBC. And it's Larson who shoots, and the wall redirects that. Southern tripped up. Cavaliers fans in disbelief. James Madison elects to go quickly. And Virginia knocks it out of the box. Nikolai waiting, hoping for some space, and loops it too much for P2, who was in there for the free kick, the center back. Goal kick Cavaliers. Past the midway point of the first half here from Klockner Stadium. So delighted that you've joined us on your Tuesday night with Steve Foss, Corey Spector, James Madison, and Virginia squaring off for the 30th time in these two programs' storied histories. Virginia getting its 3rd victory on the season on Friday night with a 2-1 victory over Virginia Tech. Cavaliers getting a coveted ranked win After a slow start here in the 2024 season, James Madison, one of 5 unbeatens in the nation, alongside number 2 Ohio State, number 4 West Virginia, number 14 Western Michigan, and UConn. The Huskies, the only other undefeated team in the nation in action tonight, and right now they're in a scoreless draw in the 61st minute against Vermont. Mangarov in a tussle with Dimitri Turner. He is as strong as an ox, Dimitri, but he gave the ball up. Good stick-to-itiveness from the Cavaliers. Tidy spin from Mangarov, and he is whirled down. I think we're going to see a lot of bodies on the surface tonight.
Yeah, it gets chippy between these two teams. Every time they play, it gets chippy, and I think there's a little bit more at stake when two schools this close play each other. Yeah, it's a smart foul from Chase Strine. He's saying no, 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 but he knows very well that he fouled Mangarov there. Mangarov does really well to turn him there, and he's going towards goal.
This dude is a threat anytime he's got a free kick. Mangarov towards goal, and Sebastian Conlon with the reception. And now Conlon wants to punt it. He's got Evan Southern wide open. Lamb tracking back. Southern 1v2. Aguilar to his left. Southern inside for Aguilar. Jeffrey waits. He shoots just over the bar. What a heady play from Conlon to get the counter started.
Yeah, I'm sure Jeffrey Aguilar is going to want that one back, but you get a glimpse there of what JMU loves to do. They're defending a very dangerous set piece, and the next second they are in your goal attacking. You just see here, just gets under it. You know, you'd like to see him take that onto his left, but he decides to have it with his stronger right foot, puts it over. But, you know, cheers to Evan Southern because he does really, really well there to set his teammate up.
Lamb lays it down the line, and Pitu tried to hammer it. Instead, it went to his teammate Strine. That's okay. And now Ian Graham scanning. Graham floating it for Leland. Howard shields him off. Dang with a flick. And now Visa. Mangarov on the back heel. Pella holds it in bounds. Graham and Brisuela chasing after it. And here is Conlon once again for James Madison. Starter since day one, his freshman season. James Madison has not had to use a lot of goalies over the last 8 or 9 years. TJ Bush, the long-time starter for the Dukes. Martin Loy started for a year, and it's been Conlon's net the last 3.
Yeah, I think when TJ Bush graduated, I think a lot of people were looking around and saying, oh no, we're losing TJ. He's fantastic. He's the best keeper we've ever had. And then up steps Sebi, and he's just been fantastic ever since they put him in.
Yeah, TJ Bush, one of the 8 all-time MLS draft picks for James Madison. Tyler Clegg, the most recent Duke that was selected in 2023. With the Portland Timbers. Mangarov on the bender in. Bounces around. Nick Dang, he tried to connect there with Brisuela. And now James Madison moves it towards Evan Southern.
And you know, Corey, UVA's had a couple set pieces early here that JMU just hasn't looked super comfortable defending. And it's concerning because that is how UVA has scored a lot of their goals. And JMU has looked suspect at best so far.
Steve, I think it's very fascinating. The first 28 minutes of this match, I think we had our ideas of how this would play out. It's really been an unpredictable start.
Yeah, I think it's been different than we expected when it comes to JMU pressing the ball. But as for how JMU's attacked, it's been very, you know, they've transitioned quickly, which they're known to do. I've been really impressed with how UVA's played. I think Pela coming back to the starting lineup does a lot for them, and just being able to keep the ball, and you see him here just being attached to the back line. That's huge. And I think Gelnevich is going to be very pleased to be 0-0, like you said, 28 minutes in.
Well, we asked associate head coach Adam Perrin yesterday, what was the big difference in the 72 hours between UNCG and Virginia, that match, and then going into Virginia Tech? And he said our guys just had really excellent training habits over those couple of days. And what was also key was that Matt Schulis told the team what it's really all about, to wear that Virginia crest and be a student athlete. And then Steve, oh, by the way, they played Al Pacino's Any Given Sunday speech in the locker room on Friday night.
Well, that'll do it. You really buried the lead there.
Well, I had to build it up, get more interesting as time goes on.
No, I think there is something to be said for Chulis talking about what it means to be a player for Virginia, because there really is so much history, so much tradition that goes with wearing the badge, wearing the 7 stars. And if you have a lot of transfers, they might not be familiar with that tradition.
11 ACC championships, 7 national titles, 3rd all time in the entire country. St. Louis and Indiana, the other 2. Lelon, his short option is Southern. His longer option is Aguilar, and Jeffrey spins. He could not get off a shot. How about that defensive effort from Austin Rome?
Yeah, pretty impressive from Rome there. Really important. Aguilar, he's a little guy, and he just stops on a dime, stops the ball, and just isn't quite able to get a shot off. But that all starts from Luka Nikolai hitting an absolute laser on a rope across the field to Leyland to begin that attack.
All right, substitutions now on both sides. Parker Sloan for Virginia has entered the match. And you start to wonder what's going through his mind tonight. He picked up a red card in last year's game against James Madison that allowed the Dukes to get the late winner late game tire from Rodrigo Robles, 32 in white. He's in the match on the far side. Kome Ubogu, backup forward, is also in for UVA. And James Madison has made an adjustment as well, as Jordan McMillan, another 5th-year guy who was playing out of position this season, now as a forward, was mostly a defender or midfielder his first couple of years.
Yeah, I think early in the season we'd be saying he's playing out of position, but now forward is Jordan's position, and you see him there getting after it, being feisty. He offers something very different from Jeffrey Aguilar. He's a much bigger guy, bigger presence.
Can you sell that a little bit more? He is a much bigger guy.
Word on the street is McMillan is now benching 325, and you see it. He is a monster.
You thought before the match that he'd be squatting a little bit more than he is.
Well, I think it's vanity weights that's doing him in, because, yeah, you'd like to see him putting up Jalen Hurts numbers.
You got a favorite protein powder, by the way? We should have asked Jordan that question.
Yeah, we should have. He's probably the expert in it. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have Jordan's physique. I love you, man, but...
All right, well, you didn't... All right, you didn't have to tell everyone.
Throw in now for the Cavaliers with Brendan Lamb, who has played an assortment of positions for UVA this year. Started the year as what they called the Joker, left center back, who had freedom to move into the attack. Center mid, he's played some wing. Now McMillan getting a touch. Gashi flops down to the ground. Play continues. Umberto Pella waiting for Gashi, who scored the other night against Tech. Lamb. Beauvoir. Oh, what a tackle. Johnny on the spot that time is Nikolai. A dozen or so minutes to play now in the first half. Only 5 combined shots so far. James Madison with a slight edge, 3-2. Cavaliers with the only shot on target credited so far this evening. Beauvoir couldn't sneak past Larson, who touches it out. We asked Coach Szynski before the game, with the knowledge that James Madison hasn't won in Charlottesville in 44 years, said, you going to talk about that in the locker room? He said, no, we're not really about that. Maybe we'll talk about it afterwards, but for us, this is just the next assignment, the next task on our schedule.
Yeah, and I might have mentioned that if I were the coach, but I am in no position to question Zizensky's pregame talks because he's a wizard with those.
Well, you played at James Madison for a few years, Steve, and Adam Perrin, the associate head coach for UVA, who spent a couple of years with JMU, he said sometimes you're in the locker room with Coach Paul, and you're not exactly sure where he's going with some of these speeches, but boy, at the end of it, he really fires you up.
Usually, he always fires you up. Sometimes it doesn't quite connect, but for the most part, yeah. Coach Zizensky he's a master motivator, and every single game, whether it's a Tuesday in the middle of nowhere or a Tuesday in Klockner, he will get you ready to go, and that's really his strength.
I was going to say, this does not constitute as nowhere, right? Just making sure.
Not at all, not at all. This is one of the meccas of college soccer, I think.
I would certainly agree with you there. You went to plenty of games growing up. Obviously, you watched your brother Patty play here at Virginia. Patty won a national championship in 2014. You've seen and been a part of a lot of these James Madison Virginia matches. What was the feeling growing up like watching these two squads go at it?
It's different than it is now. I think when Patty was playing, JMU was very much the little brother who got bullied and beat 3-0 every time they played. And now it's a lot more even. I think the JMU program over the last 10 years has come a very long way to the point where they're now one of the big dogs in college soccer. They're playing in the Sun Belt. Sun Belt has 3 teams in the top 10. So it's changed a lot because I think while Patty was playing, it's really they were just another team to beat on a Tuesday.
There's Belen Cocho, 21 in purple, the substitute for James Madison, second year coming over from George Mason. So, all right, you mentioned the last decade. It just feels different for James Madison. Paul Zizensky's been with James Madison now for a decade. He's been the head coach for 7 years and assistant for 3. What's the magic pixie dust with Coach Zizensky?
Well, I think it's a few things. I think, first of all, he's a great motivator, as I've mentioned, but I think he's also had a great staff around him. I think when he took over the reins from Tom Foley, that was the best thing that ever happened to the JMU program. Now, with him is Nick Melville, and, when 7 years ago, when Zizensky took over, it was Adam Perrin. And I think you look at this JMU team, and you can still see Adam Perrin's fingerprints all over it. He helped shape that culture before he departed for UVA, and Zizensky and Melville have done a fabulous job ever since. Obviously, Hubbard has come on board after not having a ton of success with VMI, but I think he's learning from them, and he's doing his best to fit in.
Well, it's easy to forget if you pay attention to college soccer. You've seen James Madison in the national polls before. Coach Zizensky didn't have, a full spring to get ready for his first year. He was told a couple of days before preseason in 2018 that he was the head coach.
And not only was he told 2 weeks before preseason that he was the head coach, but then
2 days.
And then he led a JMU team to one of their best finishes ever.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing what he did in the 2018 season, and ever since, really.
Making the Elite Eight, won the CAA, beat High Point, Carolina, and Virginia Tech all on the road in the NCAA tournament before losing to Michigan State. The crowd not liking what's going on right now. Can we all get along down there, please?
It'd be nice. It'd be really nice, just for once.
Dimitri Turner, one of the guys that Adam Perrin recruited at James Madison, and those two have continued to have a friendly relationship. Adam really fond of Dimitri's parents, background he comes from.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. I mean, Dimitri Turner is absolutely everything that you want in a student athlete. He is an excellent student, quantitative finance major, and just a leader on the field.
That was your major, right?
It was not.
Oh.
It was not. They didn't let me in the door.
No. And that ball did go out of play. George Gelnovach said, no, it stayed on the white chalk. Nikolai hurls it back. P2 and Graham. 7 minutes to go in our opening half. Still 3-2 the edge for James Madison in shots, but That does not dim what has been a very exciting first half. Two programs going nose to nose, bragging rights certainly on the line. Blanton adventuring forward. 2 goals in his last 2. Slides off of Pella. Corner kick, James Madison, and for the Dukes, that's their first on the night.
Yeah, really great run from Blanton in behind, and Pella picks him up from the 6th position and does his best, but concedes a corner, and so we'll see what the Dukes can do here.
And you got the big bruisers moving up here with Turner and Pete 2 and Balint Kocho, 21 in purple, certainly a big threat in the air.
Yeah, I think they'd love to have Davide Materazzi here in plays like this.
They elect to go short. Nikolai has a hit. Beauvois has a head. Of course he does. Back to Graham. Kocho coughs it up. Gashi Abogu, who has scored all but 1 goal in his career as a reserve. That's his story tonight. Graham, 1 or 2 extra touches, but he did jam it outside the defensive third. Good strength from Kocho. Larson, play continues. Advantage for James Madison.
Yeah, Kocho does well to win the ball there. Him and Graham both committed the same mistake of just lingering on the ball too much and giving away, but he does really well there to win the ball back for his team.
Here's Milo Ray on the outside, one of a couple of impact freshmen for the Dukes this season. Ray has really fit in with this culture coming over from Portland. He was with the Timbers Academy since he was 12 years old, and we mentioned Tyler Clegg earlier. He was a big reason why James Madison liked Ray. No foul here. Kocho, oh, what a slide. Nick Dang prevents what could have been an easy tap-in for McMillan.
Yeah, first of all, huge credit to Nick Dang there because he's all alone on an island. He's isolated, and he makes a great tackle. But Kocho has to do better there. He takes a second to react. As soon as he gets the ball here, he thinks he's committed a foul maybe, and so he hesitates, and he doesn't go in behind. And then here, you have to make that pass or you have to get a shot on goal. That is an excellent opportunity for the Dukes that goes to waste.
Revisionist history here, and I'm like 50 yards away. Could Kocho have maybe trapped the ball, waited for the slide to happen, and then have an easy pass to the other side?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's easy for us to stand up here and watch that happen and say, he should have done this. You know, Monday morning quarterback it. But you really have to execute on plays like that.
Wednesday morning announcer?
That's right.
Okay.
Doesn't have the same ring.
No. Speaking of ring, we were talking about this before the match. These two programs are separated by an hour, played each other 30 times. This rivalry needs a nickname. You got any good nicknames for this?
I mean, I got a couple ideas. You're putting me on the spot. I think the obvious one is Battle of I-64, but that seems too easy.
Yeah.
Battle of the Blue Ridge, maybe. I think that's pretty good. Blue Ridge Shootout's pretty good. Someone recommended to me, my little brother actually recommended me, a JMU alum, by the way, okay? So it's okay to say this. He said Harvard of the South versus Harvard of Harrisonburg, Virginia. What do you think about that one?
What do I think about that one? I'd like some of the other ones better.
Well, what do you got?
What do I have? No, that's a great question. See, I don't know if I have a great idea. I will say the Battle of 64, I think, is premature because you're only on 64 for half the drive. Get back to that in a moment. Virginia inside the box. Here's Mangarov, strong left foot, shoots. Ian Graham in the right spot. Secondary try. Graham again as he blocks off Brendan Lamb.
Yeah, Graham does so well there, just putting his body on the line for his teammates. And then good hold-up play from Larson.
You said Shenandoah Showdown earlier. Again, Charlottesville's not really in Shenandoah Valley, technically.
What about Skyline Shootout?
That I can go for. For those unfamiliar with this, area, that's a road that kind of extends very long from these two cities, Harrisonburg and Charlottesville.
And then you got the Skyline Overlook. It's a great place for a date.
Have you gone on any dates with that great view?
No, but I'm hoping to. This year, it's going to be my first.
Okay.
It's going to be my first.
We'll take applications. Conlon elevates it really long. Rome's header goes right off of Kocho. Here's McMillan against Sloan. Milo Ray helps out the redshirt senior. And here's the youngster Ray. Cocho falls down. Goal kick Cavaliers.
Yeah, I think Ray is between two minds there. He sees Cocho, he sees Larson, and he plays it in between the two of them. Both great options there. Indecisive there from the freshman, and he has to execute there. But that's something that will come with age.
Beautiful evening for some collegiate soccer on a Tuesday night from Charlottesville. About 60 degrees at opening kick. It'll get down to the mid-50s once we get to the second half.
It is a perfect night for soccer.
Oh, yeah. This area of the country has been, hit by some not great weather over the last couple of weeks. We deserved a night like tonight.
I'd say so. And the grass looks pretty green. We had all that weather, but plants loved it.
Mm-hmm. Larson whacks it. Petruni outside the 18. 15 ticks to go in the first 45. P2 uses the back of the noggin. There has been a lot of no-nonsense defending tonight.
Yeah, there certainly has.
Beauvoir with one last try. Clock expires. All right. And then you can also add in another substitute here, Cesar Cordova, who has checked in for the first time, 13 in white. Away we go in half number 2. JMU in the purple, UVA in the white, as the Dukes, with a win tonight, would clinch their first undefeated non-conference slate since 2004. Also the last time that they were undefeated in the entirety of a season through the first 9 matches.
And they've played a really competitive schedule, non-conference schedule that is. Of course, playing in the Sun Belt, it's maybe the second best conference in the country. They're going to get hard matches for the Sun Belt games, but they've played a really tough non-conference schedule. UVA, Georgetown, they're not shying away by any means.
Started the year on the road at CSUN and number 21 UCLA, 2 scoreless draws. And it was interesting just kind of looking at social media to begin the year. I think there were some James Madison supporters. The first 3 games of the year, also add in a 2-2 tie against NC State. All right, how good is this team? Where's this going? And then they rattle off 5 consecutive victories, and everyone's on board. All right, this team's good to go. This is a team that's going to compete.
Yeah, I think JMU has done that California trip for a lot of years to start the season, and it never goes all that well. So maybe Zazenski's got to rethink whether or not to make that trip. But yeah, once they got home, once they really got into the groove of things in Harrisonburg, they were off and running, and they haven't looked like they're stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, it's also important to remember that James Madison was without Evan Southern in Game 2 against UCLA and still got a result. Southern was issued a red card in Game 1 against CSUN.
Yeah, and I think losing Ethan Taylor in a preseason game really shook things up for them, because I think going to this season, a redshirt senior in Ethan Taylor, they thought, okay, this can be our guy this year. This can be our guy that scores goals for us consistently. And then, unfortunately, tears his ACL in a preseason game. And
then you compound that with the ACL of Cam Arnold, the ACL of Cooper Noseworthy, who Coach Zazenski believed a year ago was the best recruit coming out of Virginia.
Yeah, Noseworthy, I think once he gets healthy, he's going to be a really, really good player, because he's got size, but he's got great feet, and he can play really anywhere in the midfield as well as up top.
Coach Zazenski very complimentary of those 3 players. Sometimes you get players that have season-ending injuries and check out, don't show up to training sessions. All 3 of those guys completely bought in to what's going on right now with JMU.
Yeah, even if you're injured, the work doesn't stop. And I know Ethan Taylor's leading from the sidelines.
So off the James Madison handball, UVA sets up for a set piece. About 2.5 minutes into the second half. Cavaliers in the first half had a slim edge of 1 in the shots category, 4-3. And they had some set piece opportunities in that first half, more than James Madison. Fake it one way. Now Mangarov inside the 6, the header from Dang, and again it banks off of Graham.
Yeah, we mentioned in the first half, JMU needs to sort out set pieces because every single ball that Mangarov has put in, it's looked dangerous, and it's only a matter of time before Nick Dang or another who gets on the end of it.
A couple of header goals already this season for Dang against Ryder and St. Joe's. UVA short, Mangarov sneaking in, Sebastian Conlon hauls it in. And then Conlon is tripped up. And Austin Rome is pleading his case, saying, hey, I was just running back. He was the one that bumped into me.
Yeah, it's interesting to think there. Was it just an accident, or does Rome know that JMU likes to play really quickly and transition really fast and look for their forwards as soon as they win the ball?
Or the third option, accident on purpose.
Of course.
Aguilar holds it up against the much taller Nick Dang. Oh, everybody's just slipping on the surface right now.
Yeah.
Milo Ray was down.
Gonna have to have a word with JMU equipment, get the guys some soft grounds. It's been a real problem in the past. I was hoping they'd solved it.
Well, this field is described by many around the college soccer world as one of the most beautiful pitches. Also one of the more expansive pitches in the country as well.
Yeah, it's a massive field, and it's in pretty good condition for how much rain it got over the last 2 weeks.
I mean, we saw some pictures of what this field looked like the night before the UNCG game. It was supposed to be a Tuesday night. They pushed it off to a Wednesday afternoon. But about 15 hours before that game kicked off, there were several portions of this field that were flooded.
Yeah,
and they did an excellent job to
practically
get it
underwater, and they revived it.
Nikolai and Cordova going up for the header. Brizuela lays it back for Mangarov. Slips it past Ray. Visa, whose service is excellent with 4 assists already this season, 8 a year ago. Pella, Cordova. No connection there with Mangarov. James Madison begins the counter. Nifty spin. Put him through the spin cycle, hitting the B button, Larson. And now Kevin gets it back, flicks it to Josiah Blanton. Intercepted by the Cavaliers and Visa, and now Lamb.
And you see that from JMU, just winning the ball, pressing the ball as soon as they lose it. It's so good for them, and that's why they've been so successful this year, because they are relentless in regaining possession.
You thought in the first half that James Madison was not applying its usual pressure.
Yeah, so there you see it, right? There they're applying the pressure. But I think given the formation that UVA has come out in, it hasn't allowed JMU to do what they usually do, which is press center backs, press goalkeepers on the ball, press outside backs on the ball. UVA has played with players out wide, higher up, and kind of a tight 3 in the back. And so I think that's kind of, I don't know, it's thrown a wrench in JMU's usual pressing plans.
How about the tactics here for the Cavaliers? I feel like we're seeing Brendan Lamb more as a left back now. He was in the central midfield early in the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, I'm not sure if there's a shape to it, but I think Gelnevach and Chulis and Perrin have kind of given a lot of freedom to Lamb, to Pela, to Visa, because they have done, like you said, they've roamed a lot. Pela has become a part of the back line defensively pretty often for the Cavs. But I like it. It gets their best players on the field, which is what you want to do.
Brizuela battling with Blanton. James Madison ball.
Yeah, you know, Blanton, to the guys on the team, his nickname is LeBron, and I think you see why there. A little bit of flopping.
Oh. Tell me how you really feel about LeBron.
I'm a huge LeBron fan. I'm a bigger Josiah Blanton fan.
Okay.
Flopping's a part of the game. both games.
Josiah, by the way, had an excellent celebration after his goal against Marshall the other night.
Oh, yeah.
You have to
stuff.
see it.
Beautiful stuff. No, I saw it. It is.
I was talking to our audience.
It's groovy. Oh, yeah. Speaking to the audience, you guys should go look it up. It's absolutely groovy. All the kids are doing it now.
Evan Southern returning to the match after he was subbed out about midway through the first half. Nikolai twisting to his good buddy Kevin Larson. Continuity for James Madison. A lot of fifth-year players and even guys who haven't been with the program for 4 or 5 years. Some guys like a Nikolai and a Larson, they've been starting now for 2 or 3 years. Chase Strine floats it. Brendan Lamb knocks it forward. And here is Cesar de Cordova.
Yeah, and if that can come off for JMU, if Che can connect with Luka Nikolai there, that's really where JMU can be dangerous, because Nikolai has got a ton of pace, and if you put him out against Lamb on an island there, I like Nikolai winning that matchup.
Now, when he logs a lot of minutes, he's played 90 minutes 7 times in the first 9 for James Madison, and he is an engine. He doesn't stop running. Here is Nikolai again. Strong touch from Lamb. Brendan says it's Virginia ball. We have not had a decision from either the referee or the assistant referee, and after a long wait, we do get the notice that it is James Madison ball. There is Nikolai, the sophomore from Germany. Didn't have much of a recruiting process with other schools. Coach Zizensky got on Luka very early. Teammates with Cameron Arnold at Mönchengladbach. That's why he's with the Dukes in Harrisonburg.
Yeah, Gladbach, that's, I believe Luca Erhardt would call that the greatest club in Germany. Nobody else would, though.
Some would say Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund, but, you know, that's why we have spirited debates. Luca Erhardt, by the way, one of the more talented goal scorers in James Madison history. Virginia puts it inside the box, all the way to the back post where Visa is there, and Milo Ray with a challenge. Some screams from some Cavaliers fans, but the stoic George Gelnevach did not give any emotion towards that, as they're going to stop it here for Ray. Who was part of a lot of youth national teams for the United States throughout his upbringing. Picked up an injury in high school, and that kind of prevented some teams to be as interested as they were previously. Here he is with James Madison, and here's the opportunity for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, Brizuela does really well there to get down the line and put in a really dangerous cross. You'd like for one of his teammates to be in the middle to get on the end of it, but that's really good play from Brizuela.
Visa. Pella off the head of Blanton. Mangaroff have to deny his left foot if you're defending. Nice move. Shot wide. Brendan Lamb misses the far post.
That's a really clever turn from Brendan Lamb there, and sets himself up really well on his left foot to take a chance.
Conlon boosting it. Southern. Pella redirects it towards the James Madison defensive third. Dimitri Turner finding space. Southern beaming after it. Southern holds it in bounds. James Madison getting numbers inside the box. Southern in the area, shoots. Blocked away. Nick Dang again.
Yeah, who else but Nick Dang? He's always been there for the Hoos. When it seems that JMU is about to have a chance, he has stepped up, and we said in the pregame, he's so important to this back line, and you see it there, just stepping up, disrupting what looked like a really promising JMU opportunity.
Nick Dang has maybe been the steadiest player for the Cavaliers all season long, coming over from Lipscomb. Ranked as Top Drawer Soccer's number 18 player in the country coming into 2024. A lot of respect for a guy that really wasn't on the national stage with the Bisons.
Yeah, if he wasn't before, he certainly is now. He's had a really good season for the Hoos, despite their lack of results, let's call it.
Yeah, 3 wins for the Cavaliers in their first 10. Prior to the win against Virginia Tech, only 2 wins in the first 9. First time that's happened for the Hoos since 1967. But still opportunities for the Cavaliers to boost that RPI. It was at 100 before the UNCG match, all the way up to 75 after the Tech win. James Madison avoiding danger. Josiah Blanton clears it out. Southern lifts it. Dang blasts it away. And we will stop play here as Albin Gashi is down for the Hoos. Gashi didn't play a couple of matches ago against UNCG off a red card against Stanford, returned the other night against Tech.
Yeah, he's really important for the Cavs. He plays a lot of minutes, really controls the midfield.
Junior from Sweden, 3rd year as a starter.
Yeah, and Gashi is grabbing his face, and I believe the center just signaled that he was going to go to the video review to take a look at the replay.
Albin scored against James Madison as a freshman, his lone goal in his first year of college. Part of a 3-0 win for UVA over JMU a couple of years ago at Klockner. Kim Johnston is the athletic trainer, checking in.
Yeah, it looks like Gashi and P2 there going at it, and I don't think P2 struck him. It kind of looked like Gashi initiated that contact.
And based on that look, I don't know if there's anything so definitive, Steve, to say that P2 got him or P2 did not get him.
Yeah, no, I think it looked to me like they're going back and forth, they're shoving each other, and then Gashi kind of leans into him, either to headbutt him or give him a kiss.
Well, there is no love lost between these two programs. Now, there is a lot of familiarity. George Galnavach has been involved with the Cavaliers for nearly 3 decades. His associate head coach, Adam Perrin, spent 2 years with James Madison. Assistant coach Jermaine Muriel also was with JMU as a student. And there's Paul Zazensky for James Madison in year 7, 65, 31, and 23. A tremendous record for Coach Z. Great player at UNCG in the early to mid 2000s. Head coach at NAIA University of Great Falls, which is now known as the University of Providence out in Montana. 3 years as an assistant with James Madison, and he's now been with this Dukes program for a decade.
And Corey, I don't like to do this often, but I think the referee deserves some credit there in not giving out any cards and not making any rash decisions, because a red card or a couple yellows could really affect this game.
And you know, we didn't see it on camera, but there was a discussion at midfield between the two coaches. Punishment is being taken by both teams in this match. Evan Southern is the latest who is in pain.
Yeah, that last stretch of play was pretty brutal. Shout out to Jeffrey Aguilar, absolutely filthy Meg here on the near side. Yeah, absolutely a foul from Strine, and then Mangrove and Southern get tangled up. I think that's a captain sending a message and sticking up for his guy. You'd like to see him do it without getting a card because there's 30 minutes left and you want to have that card in your pocket in case you need it, use it. But I think Strine is just, he's enforcing and he's protecting his teammates.
You know, as the physicality ratchets up in this match, you know, I'm reminded of a conversation, Steve, we had with Paul Zizensky yesterday. And we asked him just the magnitude of this game in itself. Does it matter in recruiting? Does it matter when you pitch your program? He said it's certainly a big game. We're not discounting that. But in terms of how they recruit, what they try to sell, it's not really about what they do against Virginia. It's about how they treat the individual student athlete.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting because, you know, you want to, I would think that you'd say to a player, hey, we beat UVA, we're better than UVA, and that would be some juice to use in the recruiting process. But yeah, he said when we recruit, it's all about JMU, and it's all about what JMU is to the student athlete. So I think credit to Zizensky for just sticking to that. But it's nice to have bragging rights as well.
Oh, for sure. Mangaroff analyzing as he continues to trot forward. Nikolai clips it. And Gashi back to the back line. Well, for those who weren't with us earlier, Steve, you played at James Madison, finished up your career in the spring of 2021. What sold you on James Madison?
Oh, the girls.
Yeah. Stop
No,
that.
it's all the girls. No, I think it's a school that, from my family, has a lot of tradition. I have a lot of family members that went there. It's close to home, but not too close. And I think I can't really take credit and say that I saw the beginning of a great soccer dynasty at JMU, but I was lucky enough to be a part of it and really loved my time there.
Evan Southern inside the attacking third. Dang shadows him. Southern with a hack. And he hit it with the outside of his boot.
Yeah, Southern does everything except the most important thing perfectly. That's really good. You know, he gets the ball out wide, cuts inside. He's got a lot of space, separates himself from Howard really well. Just doesn't come off, which is rare for Southern. He's really, really good finisher.
11 goals in his Division I career. At the community college level at Iowa Western, scored 23 times in 36 games, winning a JUCO national championship in 2021.
Yeah, and great players come out of JUCO. Nick Melville, the assistant coach for James Madison, being one of them, really found his stride in JUCO and then went on to captain Cincinnati, and he was an excellent player.
At the same school, by the way, at Iowa Western. Cordova in a wide position. Gashi on the edge of the 18, caresses the ball as it goes to Lamb. Cordova with Brizuela inside the box. Header from Graham. Back post. Blanton with the emergency defending. Virginia regains with Visa on the corner flag. Tries to direct it around. Blanton with the back heel. Southern tackle. Grant Howard. Virginia throw.
That's super well done from Howard to move his feet as quick as Southern does and then get across him, hit it off of Southern, and win the ball back for his team is really good.
Howard, a big-time get in the transfer portal, led Virginia Tech in minutes for a season, spent 2 years there. Played against his former team on Friday night, a 2-1 victory for the Cavaliers. Interception. Nikolai dashes down the far side. Luka Nikolai turning on the afterburners. Low cross in, seeking Southern. And Nick Dang intervene. Oh boy, this is inside the 6-yard box. James Madison gets it back. Milo Ray with a crack.
And you see it right there, UVA decides to play with its food in the box, and they almost get punished for it. That looked very similar to the first goal that Marshall conceded against JMU on Friday. Yeah, just Dang, of course, he's just always there, always in the right spot. And then Gashi, I'm not sure why on earth you play Howard there on the 6-yard box. Just get that ball out of play. And then Ray, decent strike, but always rising.
Still James Madison without a shot on target. Very uncharacteristic for this Dukes team that does get a lot of chances on a game-in and game-out basis. Just to give you a picture, they average just over 6.5 shots on goal per match. A lot of teams don't get 6.5 shots at all per game. Chase Strine. Nikolai. Back to Sebi Conlon.
And that ball from Dimitri Turner, that's going to show up on the stat sheet as one completed pass. It's not going to be a goal. It's not going to be an assist. But that ball is absolutely incredible. To his back's facing the goal. He has a man on his back as well, and he's running towards his keeper as he's played the ball first touch over the defender onto the foot of Nikolai. It's so class.
Steve, you studied Dimitri Turner's game throughout his career. We're talking about a guy who was mostly a defensive linchpin. I'm going to provide some really harsh tackles on the opponent. Continues to do that very well, by the way. His offense has grown so much.
Yeah, which I think is huge. I think early on in his career he might have played negative or too conservative, but now he really opens it up and he can help them offensively. And it's no surprise that he has grown as a player like he has, because when I tell you that nobody works as hard as Dimitri Turner, I really mean it. I mean, he's a guy who, whether it's heat of summer, whether it's freezing cold, he is always working. He's the first player to show up, last one to leave, and he's a great leader.
Former Student Athlete Advisory Committee president as well for James Madison. Southern the Meg, Aguilar the flick. No dice there for Evan Southern. Mangaroff, Howard's clearance, blocked. James Madison subs. They're pumped up and on their feet.
Yeah, as they should be. That's a good stretch of play for JMU. Doesn't quite come off at the end of it, but you see JMU forwards, they're having fun with it, and they're expressing themselves, and they're playing with some freedom, and I think that'll lead to results.
You know, Steve, I'm curious, a lot of these James Madison players were a part of the game a few years ago. Melker Anshelm, the overtime winner for the Dukes to beat the Cavaliers at Centera Park, their first win since 1980. If you were playing in this game, would you have the knowledge that your program hasn't won against the big bad Cavaliers in Charlottesville in 44? Would you know that?
I would know that, and I'd know that because my brother Patty would remind me, and my dad would remind me, and my mom would remind me, and everyone would tell me that UVA has never lost here to JMU in quite some time. So yeah, that would definitely be in the back of my mind.
Nikolai steams ahead and unleashes a long shot over the crossbar.
Okay, Virginia.
Well, we know Paul Zozensky didn't bring that up in the pregame speech. I'm just curious, if that just gives the players, if they have that knowledge, that extra boost that they might need.
Yeah, it's tough to know. I think the players are up for this regardless of the speech. The rankings come out, they're ranked 8. They're going to play a UVA team who's an in-state rival. They're up for this, and they look like they're up for this.
Nick Dang's teammates tell him time as he settles things down.
See, it's moments like this. I'd like to see Evan Southern really press the ball and try and go win it. Larson's got to help him, but you see here, he has Visa out wide. Howard's Southern's playing Howard as you would an outside back, but he's not quite an outside back. He's more of a right center back because you got Visa there on the touchline for him to play the ball to.
I was fascinated by the X's and O's conversation we were having with Adam Perrin on the Cavaliers side yesterday, talking about the belief he thinks there's a lot of space between the outside backs and the outside wings for James Madison defensively.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Blanton can only do so much. UVA is playing with 2 forwards, and so Blanton can't become too detached from the back line and step to these wing backs. And so I think Perrin's right. And if you want to talk about a guy that knows formations and the X's and O's and all those things when it comes to college soccer, Adam Perrin's that guy. So you can always trust him to come up with a pretty excellent game plan.
And he really credits Paul Zozensky for elevating his career. Perrin back in 2015 was at Southern New Hampshire as the first assistant, then moved on to Ohio State as the goalkeepers coach. Didn't really work out there. Went back to Southern New Hampshire as a volunteer, essentially. He wasn't paid very well. And then he went to JMU and star in the coaching ranks after that. Mangarov, Cordova releases. Virginia screams for a handball. Referee agrees. Penalty kick pending probably a review for the Hoos.
Yeah, I don't think this review is going to help the Dukes. It pretty clearly, as you see here, tees up the shot, gonna hit Chase Strine's hand. He shies away from it, so there's a possibility that they call this back, but I think his arm is extended there, and I think this is going to stand.
So, Steve, I'm interested here because you said the arms are extended. I think normally when we talk about extension of arms, we're talking about side to side. Are you saying that in regards to just moving his body forward, essentially?
Yeah, I think, as I saw it in the replay, I saw his arm come away from his body, and if that's the case, they're going to give it. But if his arms, if he's just, you know, arms to the chest, protecting himself, there's nothing wrong with that. But if he uses his arms to make himself bigger, then they'll give it. Yeah, you know, I
Tighter than you first thought, maybe?
It is absolutely tighter than I first thought. And I think, I don't know, it's tough. I don't want that given because I think this is a great game, and I think that would be a really unlucky way to decide this game. But he called a PK on the field, and so he's going to need to see something pretty convincing to call it the other way. But Chase Strine there is not trying to handball or handle the ball in any sense of the word. And
Trying
so
to protect himself, right?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And so I think that'd be pretty harsh.
All right, here we go. The referee, David Erbacher, is out, and he's taking it off. George Geldebach disgusted. James Madison fans applaud.
I think that's a great call. I'm going to applaud the ref for the second time today. I think that's a great call because this game should not be decided on a play like that. And I think that's the right call because, while yes, I will not dispute the ball hit his hand, but his arms are close to his chest. He's in no sense of the word trying to do that, and I think that's a good call from the center referee, and I will be happy to buy him a beer.
You got some nice one-liners tonight, man. I'm with you. Two teams want it really bad. Unless it's clearly obvious that it's deserving of a PK, let's let the players on the field decide it. And you complimented Erbacher earlier today. I think he's done a fantastic job officiating this match.
Yeah, and I think a play like that, if you look at it, if it doesn't hit his hand, it's probably hitting his shoulder or the upper chest. So I'm not sure he's really made his body bigger. Like you said, I think he's just protecting himself. So great call there. We got zeros with 22 left.
We're fired up for it, as you should be. Thanks so much for being with us on your Tuesday night. Just over halfway through the second half. Shots in favor of the Cavaliers, 8-7. We've had a lot of challenges, a lot of 1v1 battles, a lot of players down on the grass, bruises and bumps, everything you'd want in what we'll prematurely call the Battle of I-64, unless somebody has a better nickname.
No, we can do better than that, and
Okay.
you know it.
All
you
right.
know we can do better than Battle I-64.
Hit us up on social media. We take suggestions.
You on TikTok, Corey?
That's the one I stay away from.
Is that right? That's smart. China's going to get you.
Just like the McDonald's conversation we had in the UNCG match. Anywho.
Do you have any vices, Corey?
Not that I'm sharing tonight. Pella to Lamb. Virginia looking for space. Cavaliers not a team that necessarily plays through the lines consistently, but seeking a spell of possession here. Ian Graham with Alvin Gashi on his back. Conlon with his off left foot. Bounces down for Strine. James Madison trying to deal with the chaos. Virginia usurps possession back. Mangarov with Milo Ray defending. Mangarov, clever move, tumbles down. Card issued to Milo Ray. Virginia free kick right outside the 18.
Yeah, that's a really nice play from Mangarov there. It's really just good feet, good strength. He's one-on-one with the freshman out wide, and Really, really good stuff to draw a foul here. You see, just squares him up, boop, through the legs. It's 2 months early, but some nutmeg for you.
Month and a half.
Splitting hairs there.
Yeah. And Thanksgiving, I think you can have that. Two-man wall for James Madison. Ray and Aguilar, two of the shortest players on the field for the Dukes. Mangarov, the service in, over the crossbar of Conlon.
And Mangarov is going to want that one back because Nick Dang is such a threat. And to not give any of your teammates an opportunity to get ahead on that, that's a wasted opportunity.
Evan Southern chesting it. Dang defending. Aguilar can't win the bout. Nick Dang does for the Cavs. Kome Ubogu, senior from Alabama, 13 goals in his career, 12 as a reserve. That's been his identity tonight. As Grant Howard picks his way through some Dukes. Cordova, Mangarov, Turner out of play. Cavaliers throw. It's got some postseason feel tonight from Klockner. Mangarov, Deeks Turner. Blanton wins it back, coughs it up. Mangarov. He knows all the tricks. He's got plenty of them in his bag.
Yeah, Mangarov looks up for it. He looks up for these last 20 minutes. He's been really, really sharp on the ball.
Every ball hotly contested. Triton Beauvoir holds it in bounds. Luka Nikolai mirroring him. Beauvoir, Pella, Lamb, the chest down, out of bounds.
And I think JMU is lucky because the last 20 minutes have been pretty tense and UVA has really laid it on thick for them. I think Luka Nikolai there is, quite frankly, he's too soft one-on-one with Triton Beauvoir. He doesn't make any contact. He lets Beauvoir go from the corner flag to inside the 18, plays it off. JMU has got to find its footing here.
Steve, I think you can feel the desperation of the Cavaliers. And this might be the match we look back on at the end of the season to say, hey, this is why Virginia got an at-large selection, or this is why Virginia was left out of the tournament. They can move up a solid 20 to 25 spots in the RPI with a win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for UVA, it seems unfair to say it, but I think every game going forward this season is kind of a must-win because they need a win out, and even then they might need to win a couple games in the ACC tournament to get an at-large bid. But you know, you can see it. They're playing the number 8 team in the country, and they're playing them very well. This is a very even game. So things are starting to click for UVA, and I think we're starting to see that.
Well, the Cavaliers only have one more ranked opponent on its schedule, and that's number 1 Pittsburgh on the road. Now, certainly a great opportunity. You just hope to win that. Cordova, Ubogu. Now Mangarov wants to slow it down. I think the Cavaliers a bit more confident in their possession here in the second half.
Absolutely they are. They're creating so much space in the midfield because they look super fluid, you know, and I think that's confusing JMU a little bit. You know, oftentimes when you set up a press, you'll say, okay, your job is you press the left back at this moment. But it's tough to tell who the left back is, who the center mid, who's the 6. You know, there's a lot of interchange there, and I think it's working well for UVA.
Larson tripped up and fouled. Umberto Pella gives him a tap on the back to say, my bad.
Foul, Virginia.
Umberto not playing over the last 3 with a bit of an ankle injury that he suffered in warm-ups against Stanford at the end of September. Yanis Lalonde returns for James Madison. Milo Ray put in a great shift, the true freshman coming over from Portland. Kevin Larson has scored some big goals for James Madison in his career. All Sun Belt Conference second-team selection a year ago with 5 goals and 6 assists. But we haven't seen Larson put one in the back of the net this season. He delivers the free kick, keeps it on the ground. Mangarov had the deflection, and now Aguilar sails the shot.
Yeah, you'd like to see Aguilar kind of just wrap his hips around that one and get it on frame because he's kind of lucky to have the ball drop to him at the top of the box, and you'd like to see him make more of that.
Aguilar had a goal and 3 assists in the Radford match a couple of matches back. Same match that Yanis Leland scored twice. Evan Southern doesn't like it.
Yeah, that's really well done from Dang again. He's probably been the best player of the game, Nick Dang. I mean, he's reading everything so well. He's always a step faster than the attacker, and then, you know, he does well there to be strong and then know when to go down and take the foul and let his team kind of regroup now.
ASUN Freshman of the Year a couple of years ago with Lipscomb. There is no doubt that David Erbacher has had full control over this match, and he tells Joey Petruni, if you're not going to listen to me, I'll give you a yellow card. That's the second straight game Petruni has a booking.
I mean, that's so silly from Joey Petruni. The ref is standing 10 feet away from him saying, back up the ball, and he's just staring him down, thinking he's going to play chicken with the referee, and the referee says, no, I have cards, you don't. Here's one for you.
And he wasn't ready for that kick to be delivered, and before that, you saw Petruni have a word or two with the James Madison folks. What's better, Asado or Billy Jacks? I think that was the conversation, right?
Yeah, I'm a Billy Jacks guy all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turner the header. Aguilar couldn't find Evan Southern. Nick Dang twirls, lasers it off of Mangarov. Chase Strine, inches away from getting Evan Southern in on goal. No pass feels easy tonight.
No. I think everything is pretty tense right now, but Bogu is not ready to hold the ball up there, and you got to think if a guy like Brizuela is on the field there, that's his bread and butter. He's going to do that for you. So Bogu, he hasn't played a ton of minutes tonight, but he's on the field now, and he needs to kind of step up and match the level.
No A.J. Smith tonight. He started the other day against Virginia Tech. Hayes Wood as well, not playing just yet. Some of the other options at central striker for Coach Gelnevach. Nikolai on an island with Lamb, and Brendan does nicely.
Yeah, does really well, actually. Lamb does really well there against Nikolai. Nikolai he tries to push it past him and run, and yeah, if he's able to get it past him, it probably does work out, but Lamb does really well there to read it.
Less than a quarter hour remaining. Southern, Strine, the inside run. Bit of a hesitation there from Che. Aguilar, Strine, the Kalamazoo native, shoots low, but Trudy. First shot on target for the Dukes.
Yeah, and it's good build-up, good link-up play between Strine and Aguilar, but ultimately it's not a super dangerous shot.
All right, Steve, you've been around Paul Zazensky before. Late match situations, 14 minutes to go, tie game on the road at Klockner Stadium. What's going through his mind right now?
Well, I think he's thinking about a couple different things. I think he's thinking, man, I wish Melker was still on the team. I wish Rodri was still on the team. I think he's thinking, okay, who's going to be the guy that steps up now? Because they've shared a lot of goals this season, whether it's Aiden Melville scoring late against Georgetown, whether it's Evan Southern or Jeffrey Aguilar getting on the goal sheet. You know, I think there's been some shared responsibility when it comes to goal scoring, and so I think he's thinking the goal could come from anywhere, but he's just trying to press his team on and tell them to do the things that they've done to make them successful, because right now they look a little tenser than they usually do.
Lamb opens up, bypasses Mangarov and chooses Cordova. Cesar still very young with this team, the sophomore from Houston, only played 4 matches a year ago. Aguilar, Leland lets it roll. Southern, offside.
And that's poor awareness from Southern there, because he's got to know that he's offside, and he's got to know that Leland is not offside. So he's got to have the responsibility there and the wherewithal to just say, Giannis, you take this ball.
And now a yellow card was given out, I believe, to the James Madison bench.
Yeah, I believe it was to Charlie Hubbard there. He kicked over a water ball or some object on the sideline. That's his first contribution of the night.
Turner. Aguilar. Turner continues his run. Nick Dang. This guy is always in the right spot.
And it's not just that he's good at winning tackles. He's reading the game a step faster than everybody else, and that's why he's always in the right place.
Beauvoir making the inside run. Lamb the outside run. Nikolai barrels him down. Free kick Cavaliers. Virginia has been the team with more set piece tries tonight than the Dukes.
Yeah, JMU's given up a lot of fouls in and around the 18-yard box, and if they're not careful, they're going to pay for those fouls.
You can feel how tense it's getting. Some nerves from both fan bases here at Klockner Stadium. But the rattling of the bleachers begins on this set piece. Daniel Mangarov with the bender into the box. And Sebastian Conlin couldn't haul it in, but he's getting it back.
Goal kick, James Madison.
Sebastian Conlin, number 5 in the nation in goals against average, 12th in save percentage, leading the Sun Belt in both categories.
That is a great touch from Giannis Leyland to start this attack.
And Grant Howard with an equally successful challenge. Leland diving, exerting every ounce of effort he's got in his tank tonight. I think you could say the same for a vast majority of the players on the pitch. Al-Bengashi corkscrewing and finding the short pass. Lamb. James Madison's defense holds down the fort. Strine goes up for it, so does Pella. Secondary ball won by the Cavs. Virginia scrambling forward. James Madison gets it back. Do the Dukes have a counter in them?
Yeah, it's a great tackle, really clinical and almost risky tackle from P2 there, but does really well to win the ball.
Southern dangles inside. Grant Howard, the diving stop. And Mangarov goes down. And Jeffrey Aguilar is shoved to the turf. Nick Dang wants a word. Nick Dang gets a yellow. Jeffrey Aguilar gets a yellow. You get a yellow. I get a yellow. Everybody gets a yellow.
Yeah, there's some chippiness there. I think after the foul, I think Jeffrey Aguilar says something to Mangarov, and then the captain, Nick Dang, steps up and gives him a piece of his mind. And you see it here. Absolutely a foul from Jeffrey Aguilar. Always a foul. He steps up to him. He says something there that's probably not super friendly. Nick Dang gets in his face, pushing him down. Jeffrey Aguilar goes it down a little easily. I think the referee is completely right. Yeah, give out a couple yellows, keep the guys in check.
The discussion there is not who has the better basketball arena, John Paul Jones or the Atlantic Union Bank Center?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't think Jeffrey Aguilar is a huge basketball guy.
Okay. 9.5 to play, second half. Still scoreless. Who's in the Dukes? James Madison has not left Charlottesville with 3 points since 1980. 16,075 days ago. JMU all-time in Charlottesville, 2-11-2. Yanis Leland goes down. Play continues in favor of the Cavaliers. And Leland is hobbling. 10 in purple on this near side, trying to stretch it out a bit. Ball to the Cavaliers. Howard. Cordova drawn wide. Cordova slithers towards the inside. Jeffrey Aguilar puts his foot in. Couldn't win the ball. Cordova. Howard has a space to cross towards the dot. P2 the clearance. Aguilar gets a foot on it. Evan Southern traps this. Ball for James Madison. Blanton the interior run. Josiah dueling with Cesar. Cordova holds him off. Steve, it feels like the Cavaliers get a late goal here. They banked 2 straight ranked victories. This really propels them moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can beat a really good Virginia Tech team and then, knock on wood, beat a really good JMU team, then yeah, you're big time. You're playing with the big dogs, and you deserve that credit.
Misconnection. Leland couldn't catch up to it. Evan Southern. Hands to the forehead. Jordan McMillan re-enters for James Madison. Jeffrey Aguilar goes to the bench. And if you're unfamiliar with some of the rule changes for college soccer, tied match, 15 minutes or fewer remaining. We're going to stop the clock to make sure that time isn't wasted. David Okori is in the match for the first time for the Cavaliers now. Okori started his first career game a couple of games back against UNCG, did not play against Tech.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here kind of scratching my head at that substitution. I think if Mangarov is healthy, and maybe he's picked up a knock that we didn't see, but if he's healthy, I'm not sure why Gelnevach takes him out of the game, because he's been, next to Nick Dang, he's been probably UVA's best player tonight. He's been really good. It's scratching my head at that one.
He's certainly the engine in the attack. Really good playmaker. Can call his own number when needed. Sebastian Conlon. Over the head of Larson, over the head of Rome. McMillan shoved down by Dang. Virginia kicks the ball away.
Which, by the way, should be a yellow card. I'm not sure why Orbacher is not given that.
We've had 8 combined yellow cards in this match. 5 for JMU, 3 for UVA. 6.5 to play. Larson vaults it. Leland on the end line. Yanis to Josiah Blanton. Swerves towards the inside. Evan Southern lets it bounce. Southern drags it to the byline. Albin Gashi directs it away. Triton Beauvoir very speedy on the outside. Miscommunication with Abogu. Leland calling for it on the near side. He wants the matchup with Howard. Here he is. Leland tried to meg Howard. Second ball won by the Dukes. McMillan, the strong left foot, lasers it off the back of Grant Howard. James Madison corner kick. The Dukes second on the night. There is an I-81 traffic jam along the goal line. Doesn't pay off in a James Madison goal. You don't want to be stuck in one of those. Graham. Leland. Bouncer. Petruni.
Yeah, we need better service there. Or JMU needs better service there from Leland to just challenge the UVA defense. That's a pretty comfortable routine play for Petruni.
After Friday night when he made a season-high 11 saves, only required to make 1 tonight. P2 goes backwards. Virginia throw-in deep in James Madison territory. Cavaliers with 14 goals in 10 matches this year, hunting for somebody to put the ball in the back of the net consistently. A Corey and a joust. Yanis Lilan, pretty strong guy.
And if you could bottle that and you could show it to every young player in the country of how to defend a player 1v1 in the corner, that is how you do it. That is textbook from Lilan.
Yanis playing in his 70th collegiate match tonight. So many veterans on this James Madison team. So much continuity from a year ago. The Dukes returning 83% of their minutes played against the Cavaliers program that returns just 5 out of its 28 goals from last year's team that made the Sweet 16. Turner lunges. Southern slips for like the 17th time tonight. Give him a lot of credit for the effort he's put in. Just over 3 minutes to go. Tightly contested match. 10-9 the edge in shots for James Madison. Both teams have had their moments. Cordova slips. The defender Turner. Akori. Josiah Blanton defending. Lilan also helping out. Howard. Gashi. Diagonal ball for Brendan Lamb. Chests it off of Nikolai. Pella. Beauvoir, this is good from the Cavaliers. Cordova waits and shoots over the bar.
And that's a really good chance for Cordova because UVA is really patient there, really patient in getting the right opportunity and working it from the side, from the right side onto the left, back into the center for Cordova to get this chance. And you know, you see Beauvoir here, great pass to Cordova. Really good first touch from Cordova, and then just doesn't get through it, doesn't hit it square, and sends it over.
Feels like we've seen many of those moments for the Cavaliers this season. 1 or 2 more goals might be the difference between 4 or 5 wins on their slate.
That's right, but those moments matter. You know, moments make up a season.
James Madison a moment away from being 6-0-3 after a 2-2 tie against Marshall on Friday, then the number 5 team in the nation. Nikolai weaving through traffic, falls down, no foul. David Okori is on the near side and receives. 1:25 to go in regulation. Lamb now on the inside. Cordova. Here's Umberto Pella back in the lineup after missing 3 matches. Lamb, nobody out wide right. And Brendan is saying, please, give me some help. Akori, Cordova, Umberto Pella. 1 minute to go in regulation, 0-0 score. The own goal from James Madison in the 90th minute. Duke's hoping for its magic moment. Yanis Lilan fakes with the off right foot. Heaves it back post. Josiah Blanton couldn't get there. Victor Akum in the match late to defend.
And that's why they put him in the game. He subbed him on as soon as UVA scored. UVA put him in the game, and he does a really good job there to kind of hold off Blanton and not let him get on the end of that.
Joey Petruni salting off time. Dukes need to win this header. They do with Turner. Southern whips it. McMillan couldn't track it down. Nick Dang says enough of that. 5 ticks to go.
3, 2, 1.
And Big Brother remains on top. Virginia with its best win in 2024 as the Cavaliers